Good afternoon and welcome to Sunshine Report, coming to you live from Osrc Television. I am Obi Chukwemeka Oti. The Defense Headquarters has given top officers who are seniors to the newly appointed service chiefs till Monday the 3rd of July to voluntarily retire from service. The order, which was contained in a memo by the Chief of Defense Staff, who was directed to generals, brigadier generals, vice marshals and rear admirals in the Nigerian Army, Air Force and Nigerian Navy, who are senior to the new service chiefs. The retirement of the senior officers across the three services was in line with the long-standing military tradition that officers who were senior to the service chiefs will be retired. President Tinubu had announced the immediate retirement of General Lucky Irabo, who was the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, and Air Marshal Oludayo Amao, the Chief of Air Staff, and replaced them with new military chiefs. Meanwhile, the pulling out parade for the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Lucky Irabo, has been held. The ceremony, which is the last mark of respect from the military, took place at the Mogadishu Cantonment, Abuja. In attendance were senior military officers, former chiefs of defense staff, the former secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, Governor of Delta State, Sheriff Oborevori, among others. A group of proactive youths, Southern Youth Assembly of Nigeria, SIAN, has called on President Bola Tinubu to put those who stood up for his emergence as Nigerian president into consideration while choosing his cabinet. Spokesperson of the forum in Ondo State, David Aladesomi, at a press conference held at the NUJ Press Center in Akure, the Ondo State capital, said SIAN will continue to support progressive citizens. Omorela Ubenji has details.
We are supporting personalities.
Southern Youth Assembly of Nigeria, SIAN, is a pressure group working towards good governance, better Nigeria, and youth development. The group is currently in 17 states, Ondo inclusive, with a motto, Build the Youth, Build the Nation.
Build the youth, build the nation.
Spokesperson of the association, David Aladesomi, congratulated the new administration led by President Bola Tinubu, lawmakers both at the national and state level. He encouraged the president to surround himself with people who dedicated their lives and resources towards the success of the 2023 general elections, since they understand his concepts of his governance.
SIAN called on His Excellency Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu to remember faithful party, deserve a national honor and ministerial leave. Most importantly, Nigerian Southern youth are calling on His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a matter of urgency. Remember the support groups, prayer groups, and union who suffered a lot for his emergence during support group registration before election and after electionary process.
Mr. Aladesomi expressed gratitude to Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for leading Southern governors and the right path to produce President Tinubu, and a philanthropist from a federal local government area of Ondo State, Dr. Victor Oritedi, whom he said played a major role in the elections. He assured that SIAN will henceforth play a major role in governance to better the lives of youths and Nigerians in general.
In synergy with the national body of National Association of Ondo State Students, NAOS, SIAN Ondo State National Representative, through our spokesperson, Honorable Engineer David Aladesomi, Mr. Kunishere, mandates are very clear, and we shall carry all youth and students in the states along in this assembly and our administration. On this mandate, Ondo youth shall stand for good governance and for the interests of all Ondo State youths.
Other members of the forum, including National Assistant Secretary of Jagaban Shetima Students Movement, Nuren Akonji, urged the youth to always hold politicians accountable.
One of the problems that we're having in this country is the issue of psychophancy. We have people that are close to the leader, but fail to tell them that this thing they are doing is wrong. But as it is that people are willing to partake, people are willing to participate, people are willing to talk, we are going to achieve a better Nigeria with that.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Adekunle Tinubu is a well-known leader all over the universe, and he has already reaped what he has sowed long ago, because he's a man to follow. He's a man that have built many leaders and brought up many youths to become leader in this great country.
They called on youths in Ondo State to show more interest in politics and governance. Omoniola Ngbeji, Osrc News.
In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu says he is working to reform the nation's financial system and also ensure a transparent budgetary process. The president, who stated this in Lagos when he was hosted by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, said he was re-engineering the effectiveness of control and management of the nation's resources in order to meet the obligation owed to Nigerians. The president also thanked governors for spreading the understanding to Nigerians on the need to take steps that will stop the bleeding of the country's finances through speedy action of fuel subsidy removal. At the event were former governors Babatunde Fashola, Akinwumi Ambode, and the acting governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, among other stalwarts of the ruling All Progressives Congress. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has alerted Nigerians to a batch of unwholesome Sprite 50 cl glass bottles circulating in Nigeria. NAFDAC said the product was discovered following a consumer complaint received and investigated by the Post-Marketing Surveillance Unit of the agency. It said the product, manufactured on April 4, 2023 by the Nigerian Bottling Company Limited, Abuja plant, was with AZ6 2232 batch number. According to the agency, over 5 crates of the implicated batch of Sprite 50 cl glass bottles were discovered to be contaminated with particles, adding that it had directed all zonal directors and state coordinators to carry out surveillance and mop up the implicated batch of the unwholesome products. 3 teenagers suspected to have been involved in the killing of a naval officer attached to the Navy Secondary School Imeri in Osrc local government area of Ondo State have been nabbed. Parading the suspects, Ondo State Police Public Relations Officer Fumilayo Odolami Omisonya said the arrest was successful through the joint efforts of the naval team and the State Police Command. Omerila Ugbenji reports that the police are on the trail of more suspects.
20-year-old Ayomide Sambo, popularly called Onyibo, a graduate of Furiakari Community Grammar School, Idoani, was said to have been offended by the attitude of the naval officer Ayomide Akingbagbohun, who refused to apologize after a minor scuffle. Sambo, alongside his acquaintances, 20-year-old John Adeleke and Francis Shagari, a year short of his 18th birthday, were said to have waylaid the naval officer while taking a walk with his friend in Idoani.
Mi fi kankan bí àwọn irin báyìí fọwọ́ kan ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ la fẹ́ fi jà tẹ́lẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ìmọ̀kan táwọn náà lọ yọ èmi wá lọ gbé òkúta ńlá bọ̀ òkúta yẹn mi lè gbé ẹ béèrè lọ́wọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi náà òkúta yẹn mi lè gbé èmi tún wá padà sí ibi ìjà yẹn àwọn èèyàn wá wọ́ débẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìyá kan tó ń ta ọsàn ní sáìdì ibẹ̀ wọn ò béèrè pé kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ wọ́n kà stop wa ní pé
Adeleke, who was referred to as the champion of the incidents, reportedly stood by his friend, grabbing a piece of iron and continuously hitting the naval officer until he sustained a life-threatening injury.
It's me this one and this one we may like the longimo. Ben, she won't bobo and one property American. The poor job, somebody below or anything, I will master with my silly. One only on pay pound. Lè náà ló fàjà sílẹ̀ o. Ó ti Navy yẹn ti nà ọ̀rẹ́ mi wọ́n á fọmọ lọ́wọ́ kó ra ìfilẹ̀.
Francis Shagari, who was arrested alongside, said he was with them but did not partake in the beating.
The bike man now reached one junction. So Johnson now saw the Navy officer there. So he now went to go and meet him and told him that why did he slap him? They are now arguing. So Johnson and the naval officer was now fighting with hand. So Ayo now go and remove umbrella pole and beat the Navy officer. He was beating him.
An eyewitness who simply identified himself as Olaoluwa confirmed being with the victim when the incident happened.
Ọlọ́kadà kan wá ń bọ̀ wá dodge galloping. So ọwọ́ Akin wá ṣèṣì kan òyìnbó. So wọ́n ṣe wá bẹ̀ wọ́n nìyẹn, àwa bẹ̀ wọ́n ti wá lọ like 30 minutes. Adé junction kan, junction Arẹwà. A ṣe fẹ́ yà ní junction ẹ̀ báyìí bí àwọn òyìnbó ṣe kó ọ̀kadà wá nìyẹn. Next time wọ́n ṣe da igi bò ní ẹ̀ wọ́n ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní lù kan mọ́ nìyẹn bí Akin ṣe wá sílẹ̀ nìyẹn. So ó wá pè mí pé kí n má jà ó pé òun ti wíìkì báyìí kí n kọ́kọ́ máa rush mi lọ sí hospital. Ní gbogbo ọlọ́kadà tó wà níbẹ̀ kò dẹ̀ sí anybody tó ready láti help. Èmi nìkan ni mo fi ẹ̀yìn gbé lọ sí maternity hospital àkọ́kọ́. Mo tún fẹ̀yìn gbé kúrò ńbẹ̀ lọ sí general hospital. Ibẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti attend sí, wọ́n ti feed drip sí ara ẹ̀ kó tó di pé ó give up.
Confirming the killing, Ondo State Police Public Relations Officer Fumilayo Odunlami Omisanya said the arrest of the 3 suspects was made possible with the help of naval officers, noting that the command was still searching for more suspects with a view to charging them to court for murder.
Currently, 3 suspects are in custody, and in the course of the interrogation, we realized that one Ayomide Sambo was one of those that were mobilized to the scene, and when he got there, he carried an iron rod, hit him on his head and started stoning him. But later, one thing led to the other and still hit his testicles. The others are at large, and of course, immediately they are arrested, they will also be paraded and charged to court accordingly. We can tell the people of the community that they should feel free to go about their lawful business. Nothing untoward will happen to them. We are doing our best to ensure peace in that community.
Late Ayomide Akingbagbohun, who was attached to the Navy Secondary School, Imeri, in Osrc local government area of Ondo State, was killed in Idoani on Monday, the 26th of June, 2023. Omoriola Hungbeji, Osrc News.
Moving on to sports, the Interim Management Committee of the League has announced that the 2023-2024 Nigeria Professional Football League season will commence weekend of August 26 to 27. The abridged 2022-23 season ended earlier this month, with Enyimba winning their 9th league title at the Super 6 playoffs in Lagos. The IMC also announced that clubs should begin the process of club licensing. The NPFL transfer window will also open on tomorrow, July 1st, and close on September 1st. 2023. In the meantime, FIFA has released the pots for the African draws ahead of the qualification series for the 2026 World Cup, which will be co-hosted by Canada, Mexico and the United States. Nigeria is in pot 1 alongside Senegal, Tunisia, Morocco, Cameroon, Algeria, Egypt and Mali. The group draw will be conducted on July 12, 2023. All the countries will be drawn into 9 groups of 6 teams, with all the group winners qualifying for the tournament. The 4 best teams that finish in 2nd place will compete in a mini tournament, and the winner will qualify for an intercontinental playoff. The Super Eagles were absent at the last World Cup in Qatar after they lost to the Black Stars of Ghana in the playoffs. Still talking sports, Nigeria have moved up a place in the latest FIFA men's rankings for June. The Super Eagles, who were ranked 40th in the world in the ranking released in May, gained 6 points and moved to 39th. The Eagles' rise in the rankings was largely due to their impressive performance in the recent Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Sierra Leone in the month under review. The win also saw them book a spot at next year's AFCON billed to hold in Ivory Coast. On the African continent, the 3-time African champions remain in the top 6, which is a big boost for them, as it means they will be among the top seeds when the AFCON draw is conducted later in 2023. And with that sports story, we'll conclude Sunshine Report. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Thank you.